Do you know Mexico? If you're understanding this video, it's most likely that it's the country that is right below you, and everybody knows that. Well, everybody has heard of it. Some people look the other way. Some people do not understand what is going on in our country, what has been going on for many, many years. And this is really important for you to figure it out, and it's really important for you to actually have a little bit of distrust of whatever information you might hear about us. I even encourage you to distrust me, to be honest, because lately even our country has been in a flux because of the amount of misinformation that has been spread around in my country. Like I told you, if probably the main presence online from Mexicans are the Mexicans that are relatively in a place of privilege. To be honest, I am relatively in a place of privilege amongst other Mexicans. Sure, I'm not rich. No, I'm not rich, but I have much more money than many other Mexicans, and still I know that I have been given crumbs. Yet, like I told you, like I've said in previous videos, here in my city, we have been being given crumbs, while the other amount of the population, the biggest amount of the population, has been given turds, shit, mud, dirt. It's not acceptable from any government to treat their citizens like that. However, that is what has been going on for many years. Like I told you, you have probably heard that the president is bad from the country, that he's corrupt, that he's big, that he's sexist, etc., etc. Right now, there are a lot of people with certain interests in the country that have been stealing for many, many years, and lately that thing has been changing. And obviously, those people will go to any length to make the government that has taken away their opportunism, to take their image, to make them look bad in whatever way possible. They want to take it out. Probably they're desperate to recover their privilege, the privilege that they've been having for a very long time. Well, let's do a little something. Okay. Okay. Now, look at this city. Look at this. Doesn't this look beautiful? This is the city of Santa Fe. It's here in Mexico. Some people don't even know it exists. And a lot of Mexicans don't even know we even have a beautiful city like that. Now, do you think that this and this is in the same country? It's hard to believe that, isn't it? And yet it's the truth. There are a lot of people who have grown a lot of rich, who have grown in money, who have grown in power. But that power that they have gained, that money that they have gained it above other Mexicans. They have gained it from other Mexicans. And that is the issue here. That is why our country right now is in flux. Now let me get it straight. Right now there has been a lot of bad even basically a lot of investors have run away because they think that we have some sort of civil war. We do have a social, let's call it encounter. We do have a social problem that we are right now fixing, working to fix, and amazingly, right now we actually have a government that is working with most of the population to fix the issues right now. So therefore, obviously, there's going to be conflict. There's going to be people who will lie, who will basically. Here we have an expression, dar patadas de ahogado, which is like kick around like a drowning man. Like they're drowning. They obviously know that they cannot do something, but still they're still trying so hard. They're still moving their body shaking, desperately shouting, barking, whatever they can do, just to defend themselves, to recover that thing that they shouldn't have had in the first place, recover that power. And that is the issue here. Now, right now, like I said on previous videos, our president obviously isn't perfect. Macroeconomical and public image is obviously not his forte, and if that wasn't that wasn't bad enough, we even have a lot of people who are even working against the image of this country, who are trying to incite chaos. We're trying to incite all this mess, to burn fires, to burn fires in buildings in fire. Right now, even right now, they're mobilizing a lot of criminals, supposedly under the pretense that the sister and the mother of some criminal got arrested. Can you believe that shit? Anyways, that's the story that they're handling right now. However, that is obviously behind, to my understanding, obvious understanding, that is obviously the person behind such attacks, behind the mobilization of the criminals in this country, all the drug traffic, etc., is basically one united group. That while they have been two different parties, they are the same group. For example, right now, well, not right now, there have been two parties who have taken command of the country. These two. These two are basically the same. For a few years, this was the only party, and when people started to demand for another party, this one basically made this one, which is basically the same. They're all led by the same people. These two president. These two are basically the same people. These two are different presidents from different countries. Right now, they are making a lot of noise against the current government, because obviously they have been part of all the theft that has been going on in a country. And let me tell you something: this guy is a thief, and this guy is a criminal. These two are probably the worst people. This guy was also part of the party, but he wasn't that smart. Everybody knew him as a dumb, but he was just taking orders. These guys were in a big amount more involved with all the robbery that has been going on in this country for many years. Even during this guy is probably the worst of them. This guy is probably a little dumb, but this guy is much smarter, and therefore makes him a much worse person. During his presidency, he made the quote-unquote mistake of declaring the war on the Mexican crime lords. Not even a specific Mexican crime lords, just Mexican drug lords, etc., human traffickers, supposedly, like he was some sort of hero. And on consequence of that, many policemen were attacked on their jobs. Without them even being in an operation, many policemen died, and suspiciously, even policemen without uniforms. Selected, found policemen. And let me tell you something. Right now, almost every Mexican knows that this guy, this asshole, had big connections with drug traffickers, with basically all the crime in this country. He's basically a mobster guy, a mobster that somehow got himself into a presidency. And yeah, everybody knows that right now, these attacks that have been happening, the attacks that are upcoming, this guy's gonna be behind them. This guy is the public image that has been mobilizing all the crime that is happening, and that is going to happen, because none of these want Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. None of these people want this guy to continue this transformation that has been happening. This is literally the best thing that could happen to this country. Objectively, possibly the only thing that could happen. Sure, he's not perfect, but nobody else is going to come. This is literally the only guy we get. We don't get anything better, because for like 30 years we have been getting shit people who have think of nothing else but themselves or their petty wallets. Even here, what was her name? Let me look up. Yeah, Leslie's Times. This is a fellow youngster of my generation, a very promising girl, and she wrote these articles. Kudos for her. This article about basically how right now the government is giving back opportunities, and I want to make emphasis on this factor. Right now, the government is taking opportunities that should have gone to less fortunate people, to less privileged people in the first place for many years, but they never reached. Over here in my city, the previous governments always made this marketing about how they always had been rebuilding roads, basically giving opportunities, giving scholarships, like it was something to be applauded for, like it wasn't their freaking job. And that was the image here. However, like I said in previous videos, like whenever I went to build houses for the less fortunate, they didn't even know of such scholarships. They didn't even know of such opportunities. But because they were less educated, they didn't know that they were in the right to demand that from their governments. And so many years went by without any of these poor people ever getting any kind of support, education. They didn't know that they had the right. They thought that the entire country was in that place. Okay, maybe not that. Maybe not that. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit because of that. But yeah, the opportunities never reached that. And she writes this article about how this. Let me just translate this little extract. No government ever worried for a guarantee of a scholarship to these people or a simple support so that youngsters never abandoned their studies. Nobody ever looked back to them. Just in times of elections, they received a little stove or a material, the thing that you wear in order to cook, a hat with the logo of some party, of the parties that I have mentioned before. And this was something that I used to do in elections. They often went to these more poor communities, to these more poor little cities. No, not cities. These poor towns of very poor people, and they basically gave away hats, little food. Let me look up. I can't find anything. I should have been able. Gorras. Oh yeah. Okay, maybe not that. But yeah, basically, oh yeah, here is a very good example. Basically, they give away a little merchandise to encourage people to vote for them, and with that somehow they won a little bit for a short period of time the loyalty of these communities, and that is the issue here. That is how these countries got to recover their position in the presidency. And obviously over these past few years, the most poor population, they said this is too much up until here, and obviously they voted for the only man who knows the pain that they have been going through. Like I told you, there are many people here. I wanted to share this little thing because this is like a little drawing of a kid, but it says, "You won't be hurt anymore. You won't be stolen from anymore. Your town has woken up, and here we are united. Here I am, me." And this is actually real nice because I myself was never a patriotic person. To be honest, up until like 20 years old, my dream was to basically run away from this country and leave this place, to basically leave everything behind. And right now, everything is waking up where I can actually say, maybe we do have a chance. Maybe we do have a chance where people aren't actually stealing from this country. Lily's Times, shout out to you if you ever see my video. I'm so proud that I have people like you in my generation. I'm so proud of this. Like I told you, like I said in previous videos, we do not deserve people who are actually, honestly, and really objectively racist, sexist, and classist, elitist, like this asshole. Okay, like this guy. Somehow this guy became one of the biggest influencers in this country, and up until a few years ago, he's basically sold his soul to the devil. He sold his soul to these parties that I have mentioned before, and suddenly he's attacking a lot at this president for reasons that are pretty obvious. Obviously, like I said in previous videos, His his values only reached so far. His integrity only reached so far, and obviously the he's pretty much bought at this point. They pretty much bought him, and yeah, somehow this guy got to be one of the biggest influencers in this country. We deserve better. If only this guy would have been exchanged by this girl. Honestly, for real. Just imagine that, because other countries have Markiplier, other countries have Mark Fishback, PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, who have honestly worked towards the future, not only their country, but their entire world. And we do deserve better in that aspect. And we in contrast, we received this asshole who honestly does not deserve the support of his followers, and honestly gain a lot of his followers by creating fake bots. Anyways, where do I go from here? Oh yeah, let me show you a little extract of this interview with Epigmenio Ibarra, who is actually a really smart person. I actually have him over here. Really, a really smart person who is actually coming out on a lot that has been going on in this country. Oh yeah. Another issue here is that for many years, here it is. Many news anchors, etc., personalities that have been living in privilege and been winning from privilege have been winning from a lot of misinformation, from controlling the country on fear. We even have this little hashtag which is basically X soccer. All of these people have been all really, what's the best way to call it? Let's call it people who that even I thought that they were actually personalities that were somehow worthy of respect, that they were educated. But turns out over the many years, me, like many other people, have found out that all of these people were sold out, who have been misinforming the country, who have been working for the countries that I mentioned before. Where are they? Where are they? I think they are over here. Basically, all of these personalities. Oh yeah, here they are. Here. Give me just a moment. Okay. Ah, there it is. This party is never going to be elected, but it's still working for the same people. It's still run by the same people. In the end, it's just a different mask, but by the same people. But yeah, anyways, all of these people are news anchors, personalities, influencers, etc., that have been managing the population in a very foul way, but through fear, through misinformation. Basically making these countries look better, which was not the case. Let's take a couple of examples, which are the most influential people. Let me look up. Where is Laurent de Mola? Where is he? This asshole. I think it's okay. Here it is, Chumel Torres. Okay, I can't find him for some reason. Here it is. And this guy. These two, Laurent de Mola and Lopez Doriga, were of the most iconic news anchors in the country. They literally ran the news of the night that literally the entire country saw at 9 p.m. Everyone in the country saw these two. This guy at 6 p.m. and this guy at 9 p.m. This guy while everybody was eating. This guy while everybody was about to go to bed. And everybody watched them, and even my family used to watch these people. And we used to think that they were somehow more educated, that they were somehow praiseworthy, which was not the truth. My family, I myself as a kid, I'm guilty of actually looking up to these assholes, to these pieces of shit, because that's what they are. Pieces of shit isn't enough to describe the amount of wealth that these people gathered, that all of these people gathered by misleading the entire population and basically making everybody poor. All of these people are guilty of all of this that has been happening, of the poverty. All of these people are guilty altogether by controlling the population. All of them. And that is the issue here. That is they are, oh god, this one. They are guilty of a lot of debts, of a lot of crime, of a lot of misdirected wealth, of a lot of money being stolen, and they are themselves guilty of stealing money from the population, tax money, because that's what they got paid with ultimately. And obviously all of these people right now are suddenly racing against the president. Oh, here is Chimal Torres. Are suddenly racing against the presidency because suddenly all of these people have decided to do the noble cause, to do the noble thing, and speak against the regime of what's the best way to what's the way they call it, of lack of freedom of speech. That's how they have been defending this guy, with freedom of speech. And the truth is, many people keep acting like kids. Like I said on a previous video, freedom of speech is when it starts to freedom of speech stops. The freedom of speech stops whenever it threatens the honor of the or the dignity or of other people. And this is what this other guy did. He basically encouraged a big amount of the population to be racist, to be sexist, to be classist, or elitist, which is kind of a joke because we're not even, like I said on previous occasions, we're not in a rich country. We are not. None of these people are rich. Well, okay, probably many of these people, yes, they are rich. I probably didn't look up those people, but the people who follow him, they are not rich. Many of the people who actually follow them devotedly, they are not rich. But somehow they have been led to believe that they are part of the bigger stigma of this country, from the bigger socioeconomic status of the country, the followers of these people, which is not the case, and that is the issue. That is the issue with what I call often useful idiots to the high society. Let me look up. As I interrupted myself, I'm going to look into what is an interview with Epigmenio Ibarra. Like I said, a really smart person. Kudos. With the president Andrés Manuel López Obrador. Now, if you understand Spanish, I do recommend that you look this up. It's really interesting. It's really nice. It really gives you a better idea of the government that is right now running this country. It really does. So, anyways, I just wanted to give this little part because it really represents a little bit of the attitude that this guy takes upon the country. Let me just give a little thing. Right now he's showing Palacio de Gobierno, which is Palace of Government. It's pretty much like the White House. Nobody ever saw this place, okay? This is basically like the trophy that all these suckers took. This is basically the trophy that all of these assholes took to take it. Oh god, this is another piece of shit. All of these pieces are pieces of shit. We've been having a really funny story of rats running the country. Anyways, he basically is proud of our own culture. He wants to be proud of the culture, and he wants to encourage other people to be proud of our country. Because even though many rats have been living in that house, that doesn't mean this house has to represent the things that they used to represent. This house can actually represent a worthy government of Mexico, and he's actually showing this house, basically showing off a lot of these things, how pretty this thing is, how we should be, and how as Mexicans, we should be proud to have something like this as a government, as a palace of government. And yet he basically saying that this is a place where he basically makes a celebration here in Mexico. And he's a very humble person. Obviously, he comes from the bottom, and he leads a little. He basically has a little trouble with the door.
Pero debajo del cual se celebraron las jornadas de
him.
lucha durante muchos años.
Muchos años. Sí.
Muchos años. Con momentos muy tristes.
Sí. Pues aquí estuvimos protestando.
Oh, yeah. He says that for many years he was outside in the street protesting alongside his people. That these were very sad years because, to be honest, the previous governments just did not care.
Vamos a ver si podemos abrir. No, yo creo que no vamos a poder.
He found out that basically he was locked the door, and nobody couldn't reach it. He asked the guy if he could reach it.
No.
He couldn't reach it.
Vamos a utilizar una silla.
Let's use a chair. Okay, this is really funny because these chairs are basically having untouched for many years. They are basically like I don't know how to put it. Like if no president before him would ever consider of ever tainting a chair like this for such a simple thing. Like, how dare he mess with the relics of our country? But in the end, it's just a chair. Our country is the people. The rich comes from the ideas and the potential from our people. I want to point out that this is just a chair. This is just a chair. Does it really matter that much? This is no harm done. It didn't happen nothing to it, and it really doesn't. I mean, it's just a chair. Even if it had broken down, what's the big deal? And all the people who are actually going, they're going back at him for using a chair. That's how ridiculous the opposition, we call them like that. That's how ridiculous the opposition has been going.
¿Sabes cuántos cuidaban al presidente, verdad?
Sí. Oh yeah, look at this.
8,000.
Basically says that it's empty because of the COVID, the Backstreet
Estamos en tour. La cuarentena por el coronavirus.
Oh yeah. And there are some people manifesting outside his house, and they start saying that even though they are proud of for having him as a president, that there is still something that he must attend to. There was some case of injustice being done. No reason to go into detail at the moment, but yeah, but basically basically they say that there was some injustice being done upon them, and even so that they're still somehow proud of having him as a president. But they voted for him that because they thought that he will actually help them. Oh yeah, basically they're talking about support for the elderly. You can tell this manifestation over here is actually from poor people. You can actually look at them. It's very different from the huge manifestation that had been paid for previously on the previous dates of the day that this being possible. Basically, they're saying that they're coming to him according to the Constitution because they know that he's actually someone from Western Colorado. That means one of them, and they basically want to bring something to his attention. That they are very bad public functionaries, which is very bad people who are working in the government. Obviously, you do not clean the corruption of one country in 2 years. It's gonna be a hard fight. Insurance of employment, he talks about that.
Bueno, les van a atender ahora.
He talks to the people. He talks to them, and he says, "We're going to attend you. They're going to attend you right now." He basically says, "We're going to hear you right now." Let me ask you something. When have you last heard of a president that talks to their people from their very balcony while they're manifesting and says, "Okay, we'll look into that"? When was the last time that you heard that from any president from any country? But this guy is so down to earth that he says,
Sana distancia.
Yeah. And he says healthy distance. He says healthy distance. Obviously, like I said, many people are not educated. Many people are not taking the safe distance into account, or cannot afford to take the safe distance into account, like these people. Yeah. He basically says we'll look into that, and they're going to look into that. They're going to attend you.
La jefatura
Look at that.
de gobierno, si te acuerdas, ¿no?
Estuvimos hablando de cómo.
Ah, sí, me acuerdo que de. Sí.
Yeah, basically this guy is one of the.
Al que hice.
I cannot find that part. I don't think it's here. I think it was where. Yeah, it's not here. Yeah. Was he here? Oh yeah, here he is. This guy has been working for the country long before he was a president. and the previous governments even tried, previous governments and TV stations and all these news stations tried to catalog him as a fool, as a clown, as somebody dumb, as somebody poor. Yeah, basically.
Y fíjense que les estoy pidiendo algo el día.
This was when he basically tried to make people not to panic, not to be violent. When I don't remember when, but basically at this point, the entire population right here, they were about to go to arms to take violence as their new measure to combat the governments. And he said no. Do not take violence into account. I ask you to not take violence into account. Oh my god, it's really touching. Like I said before. If you do know Spanish, I do encourage you to watch this documentary from Epigmenio Ibarra. It's actually posted by the same president. It's really interesting. I do encourage you to make it. It's so touching to look exactly the things that has been going on. It's really nice to look. It really brings warmth back to one's heart. Because to be honest, I really thought that my country was a lost case, and now I figure out it isn't. But what all of these classist people, what all of these assholes that have been trying to undermine the country, that still try to fight for what they think it's their right to steal from this country, all these elitists, all of these classists, all of these racist people, what all of these people want to do, what all of these people fail to understand is that this is our last resort. This guy is our last chance. And if somehow these guys take back the power that we took from them, then we've had it. And we're going to take violence into account. There's just no other way. There is going to be a civil war if this guy fails, if this president fails to bring order back into this country. There is just no other way. I'm not encouraging anything, but I don't see any other way in which this country is going to be cleaned. If these people don't allow this president to clean this country, turn him into a martyr, whatever happens, they do not understand that their cause is a lost cause. They are in the wrong part of history, and that is the issue with Mexico. And I wanted to make this video because lately, I guess the image of this country is not the best when it should be the best as that it has had in many years. When the country is at its best. Right now, I guess investors think that we're somehow having a civil war, which we don't. Right now, we just have a lot of bad people who are manifesting for the wrong cause. And unfortunately, those bad people have a lot of money to finance those manifestations, to finance those actions, to finance that violence. And that is something that you must take into account. Because, yeah, sure, we are a poor country, but we are stopping from being a poor country. We are developing. Right now, with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour, this government took that as an opportunity, and right now our health system has been better than it has ever been before. My God, all the hospitals that have been renewed, and basically giving doctors, when our health system was basically a lost cause for many years. God damn, man. And I don't want to look like some sort of Chad or some sort of over pompous person that thinks he's smarter than the rest of the population. Like I always encourage other people to do, is make your own opinion. But I just wanted to prove this point. Because many people outside this country do not know that this country is growing, that this country is being fortified. And yeah, basically, we're cleaning up the mess that we've been having for many years. And that is the issue here. Anyways, I think this is it for this video. Yeah, like I said, I'm not encouraging anything, but like I said, these people do not understand that they are in evidence right now. As of right now, all of the people who are fighting to recover the privilege that they should never have had, to recover all the money that they have been stealing, that position where they can steal money, where they can divert, where they can basically divert funds. If they recover that, they are in evidence, and we are coming after them. I mean, I'm not encouraging anything, but god damn, man, I don't see any other. I don't see any other solution if this doesn't get cleaned up over the next 4 years. Nothing will. Maybe, obviously, maybe if we're successful, the next successor is going to be someone as clean as this president, to be honest, if we're lucky. Goddamn, this is just an example. Many people will say this is a documentary, it's not real. Like I said in previous videos, we see him every day at work. We have the most transparent government that many countries have had in many, many years. This guy tells every day what they're doing, answers questions, talks to the reporters. Every day he does that. Because let's face it, he's the president. He doesn't need to be building every single brick for the president for the country to be better. Anyways, if you did really stick with me through this very long video, I just want to say thank you. I hope that I somehow cleared any doubt that you may have. I'm willing to answer questions. And well, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. I'm not even going to tell you to subscribe, to like. Maybe that is for somebody else. I want to be an influencer, maybe, yes. But I do know that I am very aware that I'm not as charismatic as many other people. So therefore, I just saying thank you for watching this video, and have a good one, everybody. Goodbye.